been forever since I've made a video using the front-facing camera on my iPhone 4. It's now a week into my Clonazepam withdrawal. Didn't even make a video during the start of my withdrawal, but so I'm here inside my bedroom, my one-bedroom apartment, part of Pickaway Metropolitan Housing, and anyways, like I said, I'm going through the withdrawal process of the benzodiazepine, anti-anxiety, anti-seizure medication, Clonazepam. I wasn't taking it for any type of seizures. I don't think I've had any seizures that I've known of throughout my life. I started taking it for near fainting that led to anxiety attacks, and it's been over a year and 9 months, and playing this song. It's by this band called Breathe Carolina. It's called Blackout, and the lyrics say, "I won't black out." It's obviously, meant towards partying and drinking and other stuff. But it's kind of a motivational song because it's about 3 minutes towards my medication time, tapering off of it. But anyways, the song reminds me, the lyrics give me motivation to not black out, because passing out, blacking out, dropping down, going unconscious temporarily or for a while, or having a seizure, I have those feelings, and a lot of those feelings have to do with long-term use of the drug Clonazepam. I mean, a year and 10 months isn't a crazy long time, but they don't recommend going over 2 years. That's usually when the drug starts becoming ineffective. I found out the last time my dosage was increased just like a week and a half ago. I was taking 1 milligram twice a day, and my doctor gave me permission to take the same 2 milligrams twice a day, but up to 3 milligrams if I feel like I needed it, and I felt like I needed it, and I found out that when I took 3 milligrams, it was actually giving me more anxiety and was sending me to the ER every time instead of helping my symptoms. And then I got on the internet and reread about long-term benzodiazepine use. I hadn't really read that Wikipedia page in detail since I started taking the medication, so your mind tends to forget a lot of important details over that time period. And I also read, more importantly, I read I guess that was the first step. So I read that page, and I came to a realization that I was like, holy cow, this whole time I've been having side effects of long-term, Clonazepam / benzodiazepine use, and I had no clue. I just thought that my anxiety was getting worse, and I didn't realize medication was causing it to get worse. And then I made it around to the benzodiazepine withdrawal syndrome Wikipedia page and read the entire thing. It's fairly lengthy, and that withdrawal page has a link to the most highly recommended patient handbook guide to taking and withdrawing from benzodiazepines from, I think her name is Professor Heather C. Watson from the United Kingdom. Anyways, she has a really in-depth, high-detail handbook that you can get for free on the internet, and the links on the Wikipedia page. So if anyone else is going through withdrawal or currently on a benzodiazepine, I highly recommend all the pages that I just brought up. Her handbook is called, if I'm remembering her name correctly, I don't know, just go to the benzodiazepine withdrawal syndrome Wikipedia page, and like a couple paragraphs down it will have the link to her handbook page. So one of the hard parts about the withdrawal process is that like my situation specifically is that I recently got a new family doctor, and like literally recently, and because I was approved for Medicaid. Before that I was going to the free clinic because I didn't have Medicaid, and free clinic doctor, his practice is like 2.5 hours away in Waverly, so he's coming from Western Ohio out to Circleville just to, help people at the free clinic of Circleville or Pickaway County. And he, because of the type of place it is, and the fact that they would only list 14 available spots for a 2-hour time slot every Tuesday during the evening, and they would try to squeeze in, as many people after the 14 that they could. And because of, how this place was set up, my previous doctor, Dr. Holton, he didn't really have time to sit down and talk with me and see how things were going and pick up on the fact that I was experiencing long-term benzodiazepine use and that I needed to be withdrawn off of it. And I, didn't. It's weird. I would do research every now and then, but I would do research on the medication, like how it worked in your mind, and I would do research on anxiety and what I was originally diagnosed with, vasovagal syncope. And then last time I went to the cardiologist, I saw his nurse practitioner, and she said, "Hey, you might have POTS syndrome," and then just sent me on my way. So that, talk about causing anxiety. That's when POTS syndrome is when you stand up and your heart beats too fast to overcompensate, because it has to overcompensate for blood dropping to your lower legs. It's very similar in regards to the effects it has on vasovagal syncope. Vasovagal syncope is your vagus nerve messes up and causes the deep veins in your legs to open up, and too much blood drops down to your legs and not enough gets to your head. And POTS is very similar, just works differently. If you stand up and after like 17 minutes just standing around, your heart rate's 120, then you have POTS syndrome. But my heart rate when I was hooked up to the machine at the emergency room over like a week and a half ago, it was, when I stood up, it jumped up to 110, but then it dropped down and regulated it around 80 while I was having an anxiety attack. My heart rate is actually lower than 80 standing up typically. I remember it used to be like 65 standing and 40 to 45 sitting down when I was an endurance athlete. Alright, I'm halfway to my usual habit of making a 20-minute video. It takes forever to upload. Let's see. So when I was at the free clinic, the doctor, let me start over. While I was going to the free clinic, I had situations where, you know, I was completely unaware of the fact that my medication was what was actually causing me to almost like black out when I was playing basketball. Like, you know, black out, pass out, drop to the floor, panic because I had never passed out before in my life. So, and I had, you know, no clue if I would wake up again. I had no clue if I was going to stop breathing, have a seizure. I had anxiety about the fact that, you know, I would go to open gyms with all these people and I didn't, you know, I had no clue if I was going to be looked after properly or make it out of it, or if paramedics were going to be able to make it to this scene and help me out. You know, in time and figure out what my problem was. Anyways, so like those near pass outs would happen at Circleville Nazarene Open Gym Basketball, and this was like started a few months ago, and also at the Circleville High School track. A lot of times I would just go there and I'd be the only person there because a lot of times I would go at night when it was cooler, and luckily one night I was there and the maintenance guys who took care of the football field were there, and I ran like my best 5K time in 3 years, which was like, it made no sense how I was able to like run a hard 5K, but I was still having, you know, this near passing out and wooziness just from like standing up too long. But now I probably have my answer for being on vacation too long. And yeah, at the track, I was actually at ease to have at least a few people around instead of, you know, being alone. But I was still, you know, freaked out about whether or not I was going to die, you know, doing something that I used to be okay at, you know, distance running. It's really more, 5K is really kind of a middle distance compared to, you know, half marathons and ultra marathons. But not that I ever did that myself, but which reminds me, I've been staying with my parents, and here in my apartment I get a free copy of the Circleville Herald, and it's cool reading about Circleville athletes going to qualifying for the state meet. And I could tell, you know, based on how soft Division 2 is compared to Division 1, that they were like guaranteed to have a few athletes make it to state. Just trying to relax. Anyways, getting closer and closer to that 20-minute mark. So yeah, back to my story about my medication almost passing out. I would freak out, and the way the free clinic did their medication, or at least Dr. Holden wrote out my prescription, the free clinic ran every Tuesday, so I was called to come back in every month for a refill, and it's a month, was since it was every Tuesday, it was always 28 days, and the doctor would always prescribe me 30 days worth of medication for months and months and months. And for the longest time, I was, religious about only taking what I needed, and then I didn't realize that my medication was causing me more anxiety. So, long story short, like those instances playing basketball and running where I felt like I was going to pass out and was scared the heck out of me, I had no choice, and I would take usually an extra half milligram. Later on, it got to the point where I would take an extra milligram because it was, getting worse and worse. Because the half milligram wasn't doing the job. So, but I mean, this took a while. It took a couple of months. I've never taken more than 3 milligrams in a day. I'd be happy to admit if I did. I've admitted a lot worse. Part of my anxiety problem could be, one stupid night I had with marijuana that was probably laced out in San Diego that, made my nervous system more sensitive. So yeah, the point I was trying to make was my brain was getting used to that extra medication over time, and then it really started to escalate toward the end until I, got my new doctor upped my dosage, and everything finally clicked together. Holy crap, I'm actually having symptoms from the medication, and it's causing it, not helping it. But Clonazepam works on the GABA transmitters in your brain, which those things do work with a lot of processes and connect to other things. So it reaches out to a whole wide variety of stuff, and I'm on the withdrawal process now. I don't know if I'm on the best withdrawal process because the lady who is the expert and wrote the patient handbook on withdrawal talks about a lot slower tapering off than I'm going through. Like, she talks about dropping off like 0.1275 milligrams every 1 to 2 weeks based on how you feel, and thinks that the patient should have more control. And then my doctor has me dropping off an entire half milligram every week. I kind of talked about it with my mom, and I told her that when we got down to the last half milligram, I wanted to at least be able to cut that down into a 25 milligram, and then probably cut that 25 milligram down into another half, which was, I feel comfortable more doing at least that than straight off dropping from a half milligram, because a half milligram is more than what people get started off with this medication. A lot of people get started off with 0.25 milligrams, and I'm almost less than a minute away from the 20-minute mark. I'm sure my videos get very boring since I don't spread them out. Which reminds me, late on my medication. Yep. When I got my new doctor, I decided to switch back to a different brand. I have no idea if that's helping to cause a reaction or not. So, a little half milligram, and as you notice, I only have another milligram. Dropping off half milligram at nighttime, because it's better to do that because you're asleep and you're having less anxiety during the evening when you're asleep, obviously. It's funny how this medication has like no taste, so you can just let it chew it up and let it dissolve in your mouth. It has like a slight taste, but it's not gross or anything. I remember the last brand had like wasn't as good as to choosing this brand. The last brand I had, I can't remember what brand it was, but it if you chewed it without any water, it would like kind of numb your throat and had a slight burning feeling to it. And as you can tell, even though Clonazepam is a long-working drug and it could just be in my head, but you know, as soon as I take the pill, like it's like I'm relaxed. You know, the Wikipedia page says it goes to work immediately. Really doesn't to me it doesn't feel like it's fully controls your anxiety till like hour and a half, 2 hours later. But as you can see, like I was having a really crazy anxiety attack. I am, you know, sitting horizontal, you know, at least for more than my lower limb, so I'm getting a little more blood in my brain. But when I was at my parents', like I was around, you know, some stress from like animals and the heat and walking around, and sometimes my stepdad caused me stress. Anyways, as you can tell, that wasn't even a whole milligram, that was a half milligram, but just the fact that like I took it, it's probably, you know, all inside my head that, you know, it's like a huge, you know, sigh of relief. My medication is in me, so I know it's going to work, and it's, you know, just taking it is, you know, so much help compared to when it actually really kicks in. It does cause drowsiness, so I'm probably gonna get woozy right away, and luckily I got some soft food that I can eat really quick instead of having to make anything. I can just relax the rest of the night. But yeah, it's almost 24 minutes now, and I was trying to make a point that when I started tapering off, or before I even realized that my medication was causing a lot of my anxiety, I was starting to have a loss of appetite and weight loss. I sprained my ankle a couple months ago and wasn't getting out much, so that really started the process of lost appetite and weight loss. I went from 194 to I'm probably at 174 or less right now, 2 months later. It freaking sucks. Like, I shaved today, so I probably look skinnier, and my freaking baldness probably makes me look skinny. I am skinny anyways. Like when I'll flex in the mirror, I still have like ripped muscle definition, like because I'm like losing all this body fat. Like my muscles are actually showing more, but I'm not as strong as I was a couple months ago. Yeah, this medication is like slowing down my thought process. And I can't wait to go back and look at this video and see how many times I've said and this other habit I have is clicking my tongue against the roof of my mouth. Like, I know I do that like crazy. Anyways, there we go again with my brain got used to taking extra medication, and I was prescribed, the actual 3 milligrams for a couple of days, and a week before that felt like I had to take 3 milligrams, or at least 2.5. And I was in and out of the emergency room. So my brain, had gotten usage to the higher dosage. So when I brought my mom, took me to my doctor in Orient, Ohio, Dr. Ward, my newest doctor, and we sat down and talked about possibly withdrawing all the medication. And it was really funny because I was literally at the doctor like a few days before, and he was all for, he had no problem with me increasing my dosage like a whole milligram during a day. The free clinic doctor, at least, even though he didn't pick up on the fact that I was having long-term effects, he said if he increased it, he would only go to 2.25 a day. So at least he was smart in that regards. Yeah, the medication is kicking in. Before, like, when I was increased to the 3 milligrams, like, it would give me too much of this relaxed feeling. It would make me feel like I was drugged, and like I would be like staring at something, and like I would just be like frozen, and my breathing would feel like it was slowing down too much, and that would send me into a crazy panic attack and go to the ER. So I found out the hard way that I was taking too much and I was having long-term effects, but had to find out one way or another. I'm kind of glad I survived that instead of having the last doctor slowly increase my dosage, and then I just kept taking it and didn't pick up on the fact I was having long-term effects. Wow, 28 minutes. Anyways, this will be fun to look back on. Seeing how this face-to-face, how this medication affects me. Because I didn't have anything to eat before I took it either. Haven't had much to drink today either. Because I'm not really doing anything, so I don't really get that thirsty. So the point that I'm still trying to get to is that my body was used to more medication. My doctor was suggesting that when I started the withdrawal process, I stayed at 3 milligrams for a week. That was what he really wanted me to do. The problem was taking so much was worsening my lost appetite and making me sick to my stomach and making me sleep all the time. So I did not want to, end up withering away and making things worse by becoming anorexic or bulimic. Had a cross-country teammate in high school go through one of those, and his reason was because he was trying to do cross-country, which is already a hard sport, and football, which is already a hard sport, and weightlifting, and he was like, one of the smartest kids at school, so he was putting a lot of hard work into schoolwork. Anyways, he ended up with an eating disorder, and I would hate to have to seeing a teammate go through that part of that. No way I want to go through that myself. And seen plenty of movie specials and TV specials about it. Oh, just wondering if my pupils are dilated. Not really. One of the side effects is supposed to be pupil dilation, but I am right below the light. So yeah, about the dosage that I decided on to start the withdrawal process. My doctor was saying he really wanted me to try 3 milligrams. I was like, heck no, there's no way I can handle that. I actually got to the point where I couldn't, taking 3 milligrams a day was making me so sick to my stomach I couldn't handle a 1 milligram tablet at a time. Just a couple days ago, I was, 5 days into my withdrawal process, I was able to handle a milligram at a time, because for a few days I was only able to handle half milligram spread out 4 times a day, and that equals 2 milligrams. That's what I ultimately decided on myself. Might have been a dumb decision, but doctor let me walk out of the office with that decision, and so did my mom, and I did too. I could have chosen, here was part of my dilemma, I could have chosen to do 2.5 milligrams starting off for the first week, but the doctor also wanted me to take my dosages twice a day, and here's the kicker, he wanted my mother to be, or my mother and possibly my stepdad and my older sister to be in charge of making sure I got my medication on time, making sure I didn't have a freak out and grab for my medication early, because I confessed to the fact that I was having to do that, and he felt let's get this done and let's get it right the first time. We might be making a mistake on the dosage, starting at 2 milligrams, and we might be wrong about cutting down half milligram every week, because that's a huge jump compared to the supposed expert on it. But anyways, part of the problem I was going to have was 2.5 milligrams divided by 2 is I'll be taking 1.25 milligrams. That was more than the 1 milligrams making me sick to my stomach, and spread out, even spread out 4 times a day. Like, my mom was having to leave her work as internet sales lady at Coggin Automotive in Circleville, Ohio. Here in town here. Talking like it's somewhere else. Anyways, it was really hard on my mom to have to leave work just to give me, half a milligram medication, and like I said, I wasn't comfortable. I wasn't going to be, it's not that I wasn't going to be comfortable taking 2.5 milligrams split up 4 ways throughout the day. It was going to require going back to talking to my doctor and then having him prescribe me 0.25 milligram tablets. That way I could split those up to even out the dosage as close as possible to Man, I'm having trouble spitting my words out. I'm getting really drowsy. Oh, wow. This is definitely going to be fun to look back on. This is what your brain is like on Clonazepam. And after you've lost a lot of weight and after you haven't really ate much during the day and your mind was already ready to take a nap earlier. Even though I'm losing weight, just this camera angle is making my face look fat. So yeah, after a couple of days, after I got my appetite back up, and I made the decision one night. My mom went to hand me 0.5 milligram pill, and I said, I'm ready to go back to taking the 1 milligram twice a day. I felt like my stomach and my mind was up to it, and I was feeling really bad about her having to leave work because she's making decent money, and she's putting in, without having to leave work to come get me. She's already, it's a car sales job, and so if someone wants to buy a car when it's when it's your time off, after hours or during your actual day off, you tend to go in and make the deal, so you get the entire deal to yourself. I would personally, if I had enough car deals, I would personally just pass it on as half a deal, let someone else do all the work, and I get paid half the money for having the prospect. But my mom, I don't know how often I don't think she does that very often. Anyways, I'm gonna end this video, and I can talk more about, I can talk about my withdrawal symptoms I've been going through in another video.